Hello everyone, this is Jason of Schley's Bonsai and Supplies. Today I wanted to talk about a fertilizer. I know a lot of people use a lot of different types of fertilizer, and we've used quite a bit of different types of fertilizer at the nursery over the years. We have been a retail bonsai nursery for over 10 years now, and we started doing liquid fertilizer. We went to Peter's, we used Miracle Grow, then we moved on to granular Osmocote. When that became popular, started using Nutricote because Osmocote, we had problems with them down here in Central Florida, burning our maples and our azaleas in the heat of the summer because the heat was activating the sulfur coating too fast, so we used Nutricote. Then we moved on to a few different other types that didn't use salts as a carrier. A couple of them that we still carry is Dynagrow, a few different products from Dynagrow. I like Dynagrow a lot because it doesn't use salts as a carrier. This is the standard bonsai fertilizer liquid. It doesn't use salts as a carrier. One of these little 4-ounce jars will do 175 gallons. It lasts for a long time. And it's great for, especially if you have trees indoors and you don't want to see the organic fertilizer on the surface starting to mold and starting to just discolor. It's good, it's easy, it's clean. There's a bloom variety. We have some orchid fertilizer. It's pretty good. However, I will alternate or just use organics outside. The organic fertilizer is great for bonsai trees. It's actually great for anything as far as I'm concerned. In the last 20 years I've been doing this, I've noticed that organic fertilizers tends to make the trees stronger. It tends to amend the soil. It tends to have the colors better. You don't get a lot of excessive growth. You'll get growth that's a little bit tighter, a little bit more vigorous. You seem to have less bugs eating it. A lot of times when you use a hot chemical fertilizer, you'll get a lot of this extra growth that the bugs just seem to be a beacon to. Whereas when I get the organic fertilizer, regardless of what it is, it tends to just make the plant almost more resistant, and so the plant can do its natural defenses against predator insects or even other organisms. This actually is blood meal. I had a big giant bag of it, but nobody's going to spend $75 for a 40-pound bag of blood meal. So we packaged it up, and we're trying to get labeling from the manufacturer so we can do that. This right here is actually worm castings. That's probably the best black gold we have here. It's from an alpaca farm. The fella, good friend of mine, he has red worms that do about 10 by 16 troughs that are just filled with alpaca waste and everything else, and the worms just go in and turn it into these wonderful little castings. So anyway, I like the organics. I like what it does to the trees. I like the color. The problem that we have is, and we'll talk about soil at a different time, but the mix that we use is 100% inorganic. Now, I don't do much Akadama or Kanuma here because it's expensive to ship here in Central Florida. We do get a lot of other stuff out of state. I have lava rock from Colorado, calcinated clay, haydide from Indiana, crimson stone from Alabama, pumice from California, a few other types of stay-lite. There's just a lot of aggregates. We'll mix them up different proportions and different sizes. This is our Shohin mix. And if you can see it there, usually it has pumice, calcinated clay, and haydide at 1/16 to 1/4 or 1/16 to 1/8 inch, whereas this is 1/16 to 1/4 inch. This is our standard blend. anyway, the reason why we use 100% inorganic here in Central Florida is when we have rain for 4 or 5 months of the year, it floods through the trees. And if we have a lot of organics in there, the organics tend to break down a lot faster. Especially, believe it or not, if you use a chemical fertilizer, the organics will break down even quicker. But with the organics breaking down, we'll start having root rot on certain types of trees, like our black pines, like our some of our junipers. A lot of people have hard times with those in Central Florida, and they don't understand why. It usually is attributed to the soil. When you use organic fertilizer and you put it on the surface of this mix, it slowly starts to clog the pores in between the aggregate, especially if you're fertilizing often. I'm using this once a month. And what we'll do typically is we will, every January, February, or March, we'll take the top inch of mix off our bonsai trees, and we'll put a fresh mix of aggregate, and that usually will do the trick. As a matter of fact, the beautiful thing about 100% inorganic is you can dry it, you can rescreen it, you can grade it, and you can reuse it. And I found that when we dry it and rescreen it, you'll see the old organic matter from the fertilizer that'll be screened out through the mix. This is just a good example. Earlier this year, we came in and put fresh mix on the surface. Let's see if you can see it or not. And it isn't clogged at all. It has perfect drainage. This has been fertilized probably since February. Right now we're in June here, and it's starting to get some organic buildup on the surface. And so we may have to come in and in the middle of late summer or fall and just take the top 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch layer off. I don't like to aggravate the roots on deciduous trees, which that was a maple, this is an elm. You can see it has some organic buildup on the surface. This one was cleaned up, and even though it's fertilized, it's very open. There's no clogging in here, but some of them do. Well, a friend of mine, I'm going to give him credit for it. Now, he heard it from someone else, told me to use tea bags. Put the organic fertilizer in tea bags, and I'll tell you, it's time consuming. However, you put the tea bags on the surface and you leave them on there for a month, and it'll just, with the tea bags, all of the organic great stuff will get used by the tree, and the actual tea bags can be just pulled off and thrown in your compost pile at the end of the month and replaced with fresh bags. This right here is pretty much a mixture of every one of the organics that you saw in there: worm castings, black hen, blood meal, bone meal, I think I have cottonseed meal, bat guano, what else do I have in there? There's another organics that'll come. Oh, kelp meal, and it's all mixed up. And then once we mix it, we put them in these tea bags, just like that. Typically, when you put it on the surface, you can put a pin straight through it. That'll kind of help inhibit it from blowing away. Although once it gets wet, it'll actually get pretty tight to the surface, and you won't have that lip to where the air can blow it. But putting a pin through it will help. Also, because it has blood meal in it, some types of predators will actually, like raccoons and even bears, will try to pick them up and take them. I've even seen squirrels do that. So that's something you want to be careful of. I get this at Amazon.com, and again, my friend from Texas named Hurley Johnson of Timeless Trees told me about this. He had heard it from another artist. Unfortunately, I can't tell you the name, but I can tell you that it was a pretty interesting way to remedy that problem. I still will probably have to clean the surface, especially if we're going to ever show the tree, obviously. Also, as moss grows, because moss loves organic. People ask me, how do I grow moss on the surface of my pot? I don't like to do that. I like to have perfect drainage in my bonsai mix, but I do put moss on it just before a show. I don't leave moss grow on it. But if you noticed over there with the picture, some of those actually are starting to grow moss, specifically because the organic matter that's on the surface is staying moist enough to help that moss grow. I do, however, like moss on all my pinjings. I like that on there year-round. So the organic matter on there doesn't hurt the pinjings, but it will clog to the point where I have to remove it. So the tea bags will take care of that as well. So it's just something interesting. I thought maybe you guys would enjoy it. And if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to shoot me a response on here. And if you think this is interesting and you think your other bonsai friends would appreciate it, please make sure that you like me and share it with your friends. I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all soon.